Hey guys, today we're going to learn another rule that has to do with factoring. We are going to do something with factoring square things again. There's another trick that we're going to learn, and this one's a little bit more complicated than the one yesterday. So we're going to go over how this thing works, and I'm going to show you how to factor perfectly squared quadratics. So before we do that, we're actually going to kind of do this opposite. So we're going to show you what it looks like when you multiply square or when you square a binomial so that we can get the quadratic, and then we're going to kind of work backwards to see how you can factor these. So for instance here, 3x plus 4, if we square this, that's the same as just saying multiplying 3x plus 4 times 3x plus 4, because when you're squaring something, that means multiply it by itself, of course. So in this example, you would double distribute. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 4 is 12x. And now we're going to multiply the 4 by both terms. So 4 times 3x is another 12x, and 4 times 4 is 16. So we have those terms. We can add the middle two terms together, so you get 9x squared plus 24x, 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 16. All right, so that is what we get there. We're going to move on to the second one just to see how that one works. So similar thing here. This one just has a minus. We're going to change it up a tiny bit, but same first step. We're going to break this down into 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 5. Remember, we have to multiply those two things together. So 2x times 2x and 2x times negative 5. So 4x squared, 2x times 2x, 4x squared, 2x times negative 5, negative 10x. Distribute the negative 5, so negative 5 times 2 is negative 10x, and negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Make sure that's a plus. So when we add this stuff together, we get 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. All right, so a couple things we want to point out here. First of all, I want to point out that the first terms, do we see how this first term is always, if you take that term and you just square it, so 3 squared is 9, x squared is x squared. Here, 2 squared is 4, x squared is that. And the last term is always the last term squared, so 4 squared is 16. Negative 5 squared, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. So these outside terms are always just what happens when you square those. And then the middle, you can kind of see how we get the same thing twice and you add them together. So that's what you get when you multiply the 3x times 4 is 12x. If you did that twice and you add them together, you get this. Same thing here. So 2x times negative 5, negative 10x, you get 2 of those, you put it in the middle. So a quick way to do this, we'll use letters. This means that all of these, the first term is always that, whatever that number is squared times x squared. The middle term is what happens when you get 2 times and then take those two numbers, so like 2 times negative 5. You get 2 of those, like there. And there's always an x, right? So that number times x. And the last term we said is just that last term squared. So b squared. So a squared x squared plus 2ab x plus b squared. And here, if you add a negative, it's the same thing. Except that becomes a minus in the middle. So 2abx plus b squared. So this is kind of complicated, right? But this will allow us to do some of these problems a little bit more quickly. So if you have a perfectly square, quadratic equation, that means that you can factor it really, really quickly. And I'll show you how that works. So we're going to use this rule. So I have done that. I've just written those in reverse order. So a squared x squared plus 2abx plus b squared, that is equal to ax plus b squared. and the same thing, but with a minus. If there's a minus in the middle, you put a minus over there. So here, we're going to check to see. This is 4 squared. That is 5 squared. And that is 2 times 4 times 5 in the middle. So that means that I have two numbers that work for A and B. So that means that I can rewrite this as, well, I get rid of the square. So 4x plus 5, all of that is being squared. That's the factor. This one here, we'll check. So 36, that's the same as 6 squared. 49 is the same as 7 squared. And 84, well, that's negative 84. That's the same as negative 2 times 6 times 7. So that means that I can rewrite this as 6x minus 7. It's minus because that middle term is negative. So that is what that would be. And then for this last one, 100, that's the same as 10 squared. That works out. This is 3 squared, 9 is 3 squared, and the middle term is negative 2 times 10 times 3. Negative 2 times 10 is 20, times 3 is negative 60. So again, 10x minus 3 squared. So all of these have a quicker way to factor them. If you don't get how this works, that's fine. You can factor these normally. This would be the same as 10x minus 3 times 10x minus 3. So if you factor normally, you're going to get that answer. So you don't need to use this trick, but obviously for these, I was able to do them very quickly if I know the trick. If you don't know the trick, it's going to be a little bit longer, and that's fine. You can use the box method. You can use grouping to get this, but there's a faster way to do it. So this is a lot more confusing than yesterday. I understand if you have problems, but if you do, please come in to see me during my office hours or email me if you have any questions. All right, guys, good luck.